Okay, guys, welcome back to the We've Been Drinking MMA podcast. I'm Lousy,
And this is Backhand. Thanks for joining us.
and we are going to be talking about the Augusto Sakai versus Dante Mays fight. I'm going Mays. I want to put a lot of money on it, but I think Mays is going to win this fight. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit. Dontel Mays, aggressive fighter, but pretty smart. He doesn't put his head in harm's way, which is very important. Has good 1-2, good kicks, and the type of guy that can actually give Sakai problems. I'm also going to lean towards Dontel Mays in this fight. However, this is a fight. I'm going to be honest. I'd rather live bet this one just because. We both think we talked about it, that Sakai is a slightly better fighter overall, but Sakai is on a losing streak, man.
Big time losing streak. Last 4 fights, he's been knocked out. That's huge. So either he's going to come in with like a junkyard dog type mentality, I'm going to win this fight, or he's going to be like, you know what, with a defeatist attitude, like if I don't win here, he's gonna fight not to lose type fighter. So I think Dante is going to win this fight. I don't think he's going to knock him out or anything because I think Sakai might be a little bit better like level of a fighter than Mays, but like I think Mays has a real good shot to unanimous decision.
Yeah, so, the reasoning behind this is a 50-50 fight in the odds makers' eyes. However, Sakai is like on a losing streak, just like Lousy said. 4 KO losses in a row. He got KO'd by Alistair Overeem to start, which that's a bad way to start the streak because Overeem is so skilled as a kickboxer. Then he got KO'd by another kickboxer, Rosenstrike, who's a really good kickboxer. And then he got KO'd by Tai Tuivasa, who just fought for the title versus Cyril Gane. And then he got KO'd by Spivak, and Spivak just KO'd Lewis, so Spivak streaking. So it's kind of unfortunate. He's fighting really great fighters, truly, and he got KO'd by all of them. And the problem is, though, now is that it felt like in his last fight versus Spivak, we had a lot of respect for him. He had good head movement, could switch stances, could punt box really well. KO over Tybura, Marcin Tybura, who we have a lot of respect for, won his last fight versus Blaganov.
His footwork back in the day was really good, and now he's just slowing down. In fact, we were talking about before we talked about it on the podcast. His body structure right now looks terrible. Like he's coming off the couch to fight.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, he's 31 years old. This is sad, but he's 31 years old. He should be entering his prime, but instead, he looks like he's getting chubbier. It looks like his body, his back and his stomach is jiggling every time he's just circling his opponent. He's just body is jiggling. He's getting in worse shape. Like Lousy said, he looks like he's getting off the couch. I don't know what's going on in his life or what's going on. Maybe there's injuries. I don't know the exact reasons, but it's just not looking good for him as far as his career actually is going downhill. Looks like.
He needs to win this fight to stay in the UFC. What do you think about that?
Yeah, man. There's a lot of pressure on him. If you lose the 5th fight in a row and it's another KO loss, first of all, as a heavyweight, when you get KO'd, there's a different type of feeling when you get KO'd as a heavyweight because the
just
damage,
takes one punch.
One punch, and the fists are huge. And if your career can be done in just 2 or 3 KO losses. This guy's gotten 4 in a row. I mean, that shin is getting worse and worse. He's getting KO'd easier every fight. And then let's talk about Dontel Mays. This is the problem. Dontel Mays has a 4-inch reach advantage over Sakai. 4-inch reach advantage and a 3-inch height advantage. We said Dontel Mays throws punches and kicks very aggressive, but smart. Like he doesn't put his head in harm's way. He is smart about choosing when to come in. He's not just over aggressive. So that's the type of fighter. And you look at his record and you look at it and you say, his last fight was a draw, but he drew against a guy who got popped for steroids. And so, he did a good job in that fight. It's just, when you're going up against a guy who got popped for steroids.
Everybody's
on steroids. That classic Nate Diaz line. It's true for the most part. And, but this guy got caught for it, meaning he probably took like a lot, and that's why probably Dontel couldn't do that well against him. He did well in the fight, but just not good enough to beat a
Gotta
juiced.
take your vitamins.
The guy was juiced to the gills, and that's what happens. It's hard to beat a guy like that. So he lost on points and then got overturned because his opponent, Hamdi Abdawab, Abdul Wahab, yeah, he got popped for steroids. He's banned for 2 years now. So you look at Dante May's record. Other than that, no contest in his last fight, he had a KO win over Josh Parisian, and he's won a lot. Really, in his last 5 fights, the only losses came from a submission versus Cyril Gane, who is the current champion, or fighting for the belt versus John Jones. It's a vacant belt because Ngannou kept the title. But a lot of people thought Gane won that fight. So this is basically like he lost to the title holder Cyril Gane by submission. We saw that fight.
Came to the last second.
Yeah, it came at the last second in the first round and
Third round.
Sorry, third round. I'm sorry, but it was a good fight on the feet. He was doing well against Cyril Gane. Within the last, 4 years ago, that says a lot because Gane is a great striker, always has been a great striker. And, the other loss he had was a DQ a long time ago, and then in his first year and a half of fighting, he got KO'd. There's no shame in that. And he got submitted in his 4 fights ago against a specialist, Nascimento, I think a Brazilian, and so, great on the ground, I think. So, it's like one of those things where Dontel Mays really hasn't lost that much. Smart fighter, can strike with Cyril Gane well on the feet. What's going to happen when he's fighting against a guy like Sakai, who's on a losing streak, who's not looking good, who looks like he really doesn't belong in the UFC anymore?
He's fighting not to lose instead of fighting to win. So, yeah. I think this is going to be a cakewalk. I'll say cakewalk.
We used to have a lot of respect for Sakai. I still do. The problem is that he looks so bad in his last fight. Again, a live bet is what I'm going to do. But a small bet on Dante, I probably will do a small bet just because it's like everything feels like it's leading up to Dante is going to have a win over this. You look at the record, and Dante has done good on the feet versus Gane, like we said. Sakai, he's kind of more labored on his punches now. It's slowing down. His punches are getting a lot slower, a lot sloppier, and a lot slower. So it's just one of those things where you go against a guy like a great athlete like Dontel Mays, and it's bad timing, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a bad, what's that, where you fight a fighter where it's not going to be your fight.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bad style matchup. And the thing is that it's just in their careers, Dante Mays is on the rise. Like we said, he should have 3 wins, but his last fight was a no contest. But, and then 5 fights ago, Cyril Gane lost, submission, and then a submission. On the feet, though, he's really good. And the thing is Sakai is getting really bad on the feet, and Sakai doesn't have much of a ground game either. So, it's just bad timing for him. And we're going with Dontel Mays ever so slightly, but it is probably worth a bet.
So let's go.
Sad to say, we like Sakai, but